Good morning, everyone. In our previous class, we have read about Mansabdars and Jagirdars, where we have seen that many people were recruited. Recruited means were appointed in the Mughal administration because day by day the Mughal administration was expanding and there was need of more and more people to look after the different areas in under the Mughal empire, and that is why many people were recruited, that means appointed in Mughal administration. They consist of Iranians, Indian, Muslim, Afghan, Rajputs, Marathas, and many other group of people were appointed. And those who accepted the Mughal services, they were given or they name or they were called as Mansabdars. Clear? Now, the Mansabdars, who were these Mansabdars? These Mansabdars refer to an individual who hold Mansab. These Mansabdars, the people who were appointed in Mughal services, they were the people who hold Mansab in Mughal administration. And Mansab was the special position or rank. The position or rank in Mughal administration which the individual got was called as Mansab. And then, according to this Mansab, Mughal fixed the rank, the salaries, and the military responsibility for each and every individual who had joined the Mughal services. Clear this much? Then we have read about the uh, responsibility of mansabdars, that they had to take care of the number of military soldiers, that is they were responsible for each and every sawar or the cavalryman or the soldiers on the horseback. Even they had to register each and every soldier of the on the horseback, and they had to brand the horses also, and thus they got the money. After all these responsibility, fulfilling all these responsibility, they were receiving the money or salary. Then next we have read about iktas also, that mansabdars had their salaries as revenue assignment called jagirs, means as a salary they got jagirs. Jagirs were the iktas. Iktas means the type of land. Land was given to these mansabdars in the form of salaries. But like muktis and mansabdars, means like muktis, as we have seen, that they were not themselves indulge in any activity on that iktas or on that jagirs, but they had appointed the people to look after their jagirs. So mansabdars also had appointed or given the task to other people to look after the jagirs. And then whatever revenue was collected from that jagirs, that was collected by the mansabdars from the servants who were appointed by them to look after their jagirs, that is the land. Then next we have seen that the Akbar's reign, Jagirs were carefully assessed, evaluated, so that their revenues were roughly equal to the salary of Mansabdar. That means how much Mansabdar is having their Jagir. It was roughly assessed or estimated in Akbar's reign that that much equal salary was that Mansabdar was having. Then about Zabt and Zamindars also we have read that in the main source of income for the Mughal rulers was the produce of peasantry. That means the tax was put on whatever produced by the farmers in the farms, and that is why that was the main income source of income for the Mughal rulers. That was the tax which was taken by the peasants, that is the farmers. Next, we have seen that Akbar's revenue minister, who was Akbar's revenue minister? Todarmal. Todarmal was asked to carry out the surveys of how much crop, what type of crop was there in the Mughal Empire, and tax was fixed on each crop in cash. So this was the thing which was done by the revenue minister Todermal. And we have read about Zabt also. What was Zabt? That each province was divided into revenue circles with its own schedule of revenue rates for individual crops. Means each individual crop was having its own tax on it, and that was called as the revenue system, as the Zabt. Means on each crop the revenue was to be paid by the peasants, and that was called as zapt. Next, we have read that somehow careful accounts were kept of all these revenue processes and all, but in some areas the zamindars exercised a great deal of power. Means much power was given to the zamindars, and the exploitation by Mughal administrators could drive them to rebellion. Now in Mughal administration, these zamindars were treated very badly, that means exploited very badly by the Mughal administrators, and that was the reason in which the zamindars rose rebellion. In rebellion means uh, rose against the Mughal administrators, or rose in opposition to the Mughal administration, these zamindars. Why? Because they were being exploited, they were being treated cruelly, harshly by the Mughal administrators. So after this, we have also seen that the peasants of the same caste allied together. Allied means they joined together to rebel against the Mughal authorities. Now, farmers also joined together to rebel against Mughal authorities. So, these all things we have seen in our last class. If you have watched the uh, video of the previous class. Now, next today we will study about Akbarnama and Ain e Akbari. Now, Akbar ordered one of his close friends and courtiers, Abul Fazl. So, who was Abul Fazl? Abul Fazl was one of the close friend and a courtier. Courtier means the person who works in the court. The Akbar's court was Abul Fazl, and he wrote a history of the reign. History of whose reign? History of Akbar's reign. Means whatever had happened during the ruling period of Akbar, it was all noted carefully by Abul Fazl, and this task was given by Akbar himself to write about these things happening during his reign. Now, Abul Fazl wrote three-volume history of Akbar's reign. Now, Abul Fazl has written the uh, Akbarnama. In this, he has written three volumes about what all happened during the Akbar's reign, during the Akbar's ruling period. The first volume dealt with Akbar's ancestors. Now, in these three volumes of Akbarnama, the first volume was written about the Akbar's ancestors, Akbar's forefathers, and the second volume was recorded the events of Akbar's reigns, what all events took place during the rule of Akbar. It was all recorded carefully in the second volume of Akbarnama, and the third volume is the Ain Akbari. So, which is the third volume called as the third volume of Akbarnama is called as Ain Akbari, and it deals with Akbar's administration, household, army, the revenues, and the geography of his empire. So, this Ain Akbari, which is the third volume of Akbarnama, which was written by Abul Fazl, consisted of the administration, the household things, what all happening, plus the army and the revenue processes and the geography, what up to what extent the empire of Akbar was expanded. So all these things in detail we get in Ain Akbari in the third volume of Akbar Nama. So in short, we can say that Akbar Nama was the uh, book written by Abul Fazl during the reign of Akbar, and about the things happening in the rule of Akbar, during the rule of Akbar. And it is divided into three main volumes. And in the third volume, it is also called as Ain Akbari. It is written about the administration, household, army, revenues, and geography of his empire, of Akbar's empire. So the most interesting aspect of Ain Akbari is its rich statistical details about things as diverse as crop, yields, prices, wages, and revenues. That means the most interesting thing. What is the most interesting thing in Ain Akbari? The most interesting thing in Ain Akbari is that it is rich in statistical details. Statistical details means the numerical details about the collection and analysis of different types of crops, different types of productions which were made during the Akbar's period, and what were the different prices fixed for different crops, about the wages, salaries, and about the revenues. So all these things are given in detail numerically, and collection and analysis, proper collection and analysis of all these things is given in Aine Akbari. I hope it is clear. Akbarnama and Aine Akbari. Next, coming to the closer look, that is about the Akbar's policies. What all policies Akbar had adopted in his administration. So, a broad features of administration were laid down by Akbar and were elaborately discussed by Abul Fazl in his book. Means many features were there of Akbar's administration, and which was given in detail by Abul Fazl in his book Akbar Nama, in particular in its last volume, the Aine Akbari, and especially about the administration. It is given in Aine Akbari, the third volume of Akbar Nama. Now, Abul Fazl explained that the empire was divided into provinces called subas, and governed by the subedar, who carried out both political and military function. Now, the explanation about the administration is given by Abul Fazl in Ain Akbari, that during the rule of Akbar, the empire was divided into provinces at that time, and those provinces were called as subas at that time during the Akbar's rule. And these subas were controlled by subedar, means they were governed, properly administered by subedar, who carried out both political and military functions. Now, the function of Subidar was to take care of these subas, these provinces, politically as well as militarily. So each province also had a financial officer or divan. Now, who was called as divan? The financial officer during the reign of Akbar was called as divan. For the maintenance of the peace and order in his province, the Subedar were supported by other officers such as the military paymaster Bakshi. Now, military paymaster in Akbar's reign was called as Bakshi. The minister in charge of religious and charitable patronage was called as Sadar. So the person, the individual who was in charge of the religious and the charitable things, to do charity and all, to perform the religious rituals and all, the name was they were called as Sadar. Even military commanders at that time were called as Faujdars, and town police commander was called as Kotwal. So they were all the supportive officers of Subedar. Clear? And who was Subedar? Subedar was the uh, person who carried both political and military functions in the provinces. clear, and he was supported by different officers which were called as Bakshi, Sadar, Faujdar, and Kotwal during the reign of Akbar. Whatever I have underlined with the bold letters, you can also underline in your books in the with the bold letters. Now, Noor Jahan, influence in Jahangir's court. Now, what was the influence? Mean how much importance Noor Jahan was there for Jahangir? Now, Mehrunisa married the Emperor Jahangir. Who married Emperor Jahangir? Mehrunisa. And in 1611 and received the title Noor Jahan. Now, Mehrunisa uh, later on called as Nur Jahan. She was married to Emperor Jahangir in 1611. So who was Nur Jahan? Nur Jahan, earlier called as Mehrunisa, was the wife of Jahangir. She remained extremely loyal and supportive to the monarch, means she used to help uh, Jahangir in many things. She was very loyal to her husband. As a mark of honor, means as a mark of great respect, Jahangir struck silver coins bearing his own titles on one side, and on the other side the inscription struck in the name of Queen Begum Noor Jahan. That means, as to show the respect to Noor Jahan, Jahangir had struck the names or name of Queen Begum with his own name at other side, uh, on the coins which was there during the reign of Jahangir. The adjoining document is an order farman. Now, this adjoining document here they are talking about this Noor Jahan's farman. Now, what was the farman? You are already aware about this word farman. Farman was the royal order. So the adjoining document is an order of Noor Jahan. This is the order of Noor Jahan. Like this, it was given during the earlier days. The square seal states command of her most sublime and elevated majesty Noor Jahan Padshah Begum. That means this is the command, the order given by Noor Jahan, who was most sublime. Sublime is most, we can say, loyal, or higher, means we higher authority of, who was considered as very high and most important, is this Noor Jahan for Jahangir. So he was considered as sublime. Sorry, she was considered as sublime. Sublime means the supreme authority for Jahangir, and he had a special position for Jahangir in the administration. Akbar's noble commanded a large army and had access to large amount of revenue. Now Akbar nobles commanded a large armies. Large armies were under the Large armies were under the command of nobles, Akbar's nobles, and had access to a large amount of revenue. While they were loyal to the empire, functioned efficiently, but by the end of the 17th century, many nobles had built independent networks of their own. Though in the earlier days, all the nobles all were very loyal to the all the nobles were very loyal to the emperor, but slowly they started working independently, and their loyalties to the empire were weakened by their own self-interest. That means slowly they were now no more so much loyal to the Akbar, administration, and because they had their own self interest, they were indulged in fulfilling their own interest in the administration, and they were no more loyal to the Akbar now. While Akbar was at Fatehpur Sikri during 1870s, he started discussion on religion with the ulema, Brahmins, Jesuit priests who were Roman Catholics and Zoroastrians. Now, when Akbar was at Fatehpur Sikri in 1570, the discussions was made by Akbar with the religious people were called as ulema, Brahmins, Jesuit priests, and who was the Roman Catholic and Zoroastrian. So all these were the religious people from whom the Akbar started discussions on the religion. And these discussions with these religious people took place in one special place which was called as Ibadat Khana. So Akbar used to have discussions with the religious people on religion in the Ibadat Khana. So what was Ibadat Khana? Ibadat Khana was the place where Akbar used to discuss on the religious matters. He was interested in the religion and social customs of different people. So he was very much interested in the social customs and religions of the other people also. Akbar interaction with people of different faiths made him realize that a religious scholar who emphasized ritual and dogma were often bigots. Now, what does the word dogma refers to? It is a statement or interpretation declared as authoritative with an expectation that it would be followed without question. Means whatever rituals, whatever religious practices were there, it was thought by the religious preachers that they should be followed by each and every individual without any question. And they were often bigots. Bigots means an individual who is intolerant of another person's religion, beliefs, or culture. Means the people, bigots are the people who do not give any respect to other people's religion. They are often indulged and having great respect to their own religion only. They don't show any respect to the other religion. So Akbar interaction with the people in different faiths made him realize that when he had the interaction with different peoples, different religious people, he realized that religious scholars means religious preachers were emphasizing the rituals which has to be followed by the people without any question, and they were often showing no respect. These religious scholars were often showing no respect to other religious people. Their teachings created the divisions and disharmony amongst his subjects, and this eventually uh, led Akbar to the idea of Sule Akul or universal peace. Finally, their discussion with the religious teacher and uh, uh, um, uh, was observed that Akbar observed that it was created the disharmony among his subjects. Among his subject is not history, science, geography. Subject here refers to the people on which the people of the territory on which Akbar was ruling. So it was creating a uh, means the disrespect to the other religions was creating great disharmony in Akbar's administration, and then Akbar led to the idea of Sulh-e-Kul. Sulh-e-Kul was the universal peace. Sulh-e-Kul means universal peace, and then this idea of intolerance did not, this idea of tolerance did not discriminate between people of different religion in his realm. In his realm means during his reign, according to Sulaykul, that is universal peace, nobody was treated unequal on the basis of religion. Everybody was showing respect, have to show respect to other people's religion also, according to Akbar. That is why he had given the idea of Sulaykul, that is universal peace, means respect for every religion should be practiced during the reign of Akbar. Instead, it focused on system of ethics, honesty, justice, peace, uh, that was universally applicable. That means Akbar had focused on honesty and just to provide justice to each and every person, and there should be peace in the reign during the Akbar's reign. Now, Abul Fazl also helped Akbar in framing a vision of governance around his idea of Sulh-e-Kol. Now, for this Sulh-e-Kol, for this universal peace, Akbar was helped by Abul Fazl, his close friend. Now, this principle of governance, this principle of ruling was followed by Jahangir and Shahjahan also later on after Akbar. I think this much is clear, everybody. Read the lesson, chill here carefully. If any doubt, you can ask me. Uh, now, I want to discuss about the subject enrichment activity. I hope whatever PDF I have given in subject enrichment activity in the group, everything is clear. Now, I end here only of this today's lesson, and um, tomorrow, sorry, in the next class, we are going to continue from here again, this lesson. And